Welcome to Lesson 1.7 of the Grant Architect course. In this lesson, we shift from examining different types of funders to exploring how funders think and make decisions. Understanding funder psychology gives you insight into what drives funding decisions beyond the stated criteria and guidelines and applications. Funders are human beings operating within institutional contexts, subject to the same cognitive patterns, emotional influences, and social dynamics that affect all decision making. By the end of this lesson, you will understand key psychological factors that influence funding decisions and how to apply this understanding to strengthen your grant seeking across all funder types. Before exploring specific psychological factors, let us establish the fundamental reality that people make funding decisions. Behind every grant award or rejection is a human being or a group of human beings making choices. Program officers, review panelists, foundation trustees, and corporate executives are all people with their own perspectives, preferences, and limitations. These individuals operate within institutional contexts that shape their decisions. Organizational cultures, stated priorities, unwritten norms, and political dynamics all influence how funders think and what they value. Understanding the institutional context helps you understand the individual decision makers. Decision makers face cognitive limitations. They often have more applications than they can carefully review. They operate under time pressure. They cannot possibly evaluate every aspect of every proposal with equal care. This reality means that how you present information matters as much as the information itself. Emotional factors influence decisions even when evaluation criteria seem objective. Reviewers respond to compelling stories, feel inspired by visionary leaders, and develop positive or negative impressions that affect their judgments. Ignoring the emotional dimension of grant seeking is a mistake. Risk aversion is one of the most powerful forces in funding decisions, and understanding it helps you address funder concerns proactively. Career risk affects program officers and other staff who make or recommend grants. A grant that fails publicly can damage careers. Staff naturally prefer to recommend applicants who seem likely to succeed and deliver on their promises. You can reduce perceived career risk by demonstrating track record and reliability. Institutional risk concerns funders at the organizational level. Foundations and agencies worry about wasting resources on projects that fail, attracting criticism from stakeholders, or making grants that become embarrassing. Showing that you can deliver results reduces institutional risk concerns. Reputation risk means bad grants reflect poorly on decision makers. Funders want to be associated with success stories they can highlight, not failures they must explain or hide. Helping funders see how supporting you enhances rather than threatens their reputation can be powerful. Risk aversion creates a tendency towards safe choices. Established organizations with proven track records often have advantages over innovative newcomers. Conventional approaches may be preferred over risky innovations. Understanding this dynamic helps you position even innovative proposals in ways that feel manageable. Trust is foundational to funding relationships, and understanding its dimensions helps you build it effectively. Competence trust is the belief that you can actually deliver what you promise. This type of trust comes from demonstrating relevant experience, showing past successes, presenting qualified staff, and conveying practical understanding of what it takes to implement your proposed work. Funders need to believe you have the capability to execute. Character trust is the belief that you will act honestly and responsibly. This comes from demonstrating integrity, transparency about challenges, and ethical behavior. Funders need to believe that you will use their money appropriately, report honestly, and acknowledge problems rather than hiding them. Relationship trust develops through repeated positive interactions over time. Each successful grant, each timely report, each honest conversation builds trust for future engagements. This is why long-term relationship building matters so much in grant seeking. Referral trust can be transferred from trusted third parties. If someone the funder trusts vouches for you, that trust is partially transferred. Board members, mutual contacts, existing grantees, and respected field leaders can provide referral trust that opens doors for new organizations. Cognitive load and decision fatigue significantly affect how proposals are evaluated, with important implications for how you write. Information overload is real for most funders. A federal program officer might oversee a competition receiving hundreds of applications. A foundation program officer might review dozens of letters of inquiry. Reviewers simply cannot give every word of every proposal careful attention. Limited attention means some sections receive more scrutiny than others. Executive summaries, specific aims, budgets, and conclusions often get the most attention. Dense technical sections might be skimmed. Understanding this helps you place your strongest content where it will be seen. Decision fatigue is well documented in cognitive research. The quality of decisions declines as people make more decisions without rest. If your proposal is reviewed late in a long session, the reviewer may be more prone to default judgments and less likely to give complex arguments full consideration. The practical implications are clear. Make your key points easy to find through clear organization, strong headings, and strategic use of formatting. Put your most important arguments early in sections. Do not bury critical information in dense paragraphs. Make it easy for tired reviewers to understand why you deserve funding. The power of narrative is profound and often underutilized in grant writing. Humans are wired to respond to stories. We have been telling stories for thousands of years, and our brains process narrative information differently than abstract information. Stories feel true in ways that statistics alone do not. Stories create emotional engagement. When you tell the story of a real person your program helped, reviewers connect emotionally in ways they cannot with aggregate data. This emotional connection makes your work feel real and important. Stories are more memorable than facts alone. Reviewers who read dozens of proposals may remember the one with the compelling story about the child who overcame obstacles, even if they forget the statistical details. Being memorable is valuable in competitive review processes. Strategic storytelling means using narrative purposefully to illustrate your points. Start with a concrete example before presenting data. Use case studies to show your approach in action. End with a vision of future impact that readers can visualize. Weave narrative throughout your proposal to maintain engagement and reinforce key messages. Social proof is a powerful psychological principle where people use others' behavior and opinions as signals of quality. Funders are influenced by social proof even when they think they are evaluating purely on merit. Others' endorsement of your organization signals quality. If respected figures, institutions, or other funders support you, new funders infer that you must be worthwhile. Prominently featuring your supporters can influence how funders perceive you. Track record provides powerful social proof. Past success suggests future success. Organizations with histories of successful grants are perceived as safer bets than organizations without track records. If you have relevant past successes, emphasize them prominently. Partnerships with credible organizations transfer some of their credibility to you. A small organization partnering with a major university or national organization gains credibility by association. Choose partners strategically and highlight the strength they add. Recognition in the form of awards, media coverage, and endorsements from leaders in your field signals quality. Funders may not consciously weigh these factors, but they influence perception. Include relevant recognition where appropriate without appearing boastful. Confirmation bias affects how proposals are reviewed once reviewers form initial impressions. Understanding this dynamic helps you present your proposal strategically. First impressions are powerful. The first page or two of your proposal shapes how reviewers approach the rest. If you make a strong initial impression, reviewers enter a positive frame of mind. If you create confusion or skepticism early, that colors everything that follows. Selective attention means reviewers unconsciously notice information that confirms their existing views. If they have a positive initial impression, they notice your strengths. If they have a negative impression, they notice your weaknesses. The same proposal can be read very differently depending on initial reactions. Interpretation bias means ambiguous information is interpreted to fit prior beliefs. A reviewer who likes your proposal might read a concern as minor. A reviewer who has doubts might read the same concern as disqualifying. You cannot control interpretation, but you can minimize ambiguity. The strategic implication is to front-load your strengths. Put your most compelling content early where it shapes first impressions. Address potential weaknesses proactively before reviewers identify them as problems. Control the narrative rather than leaving interpretation to chance. Familiarity plays a significant role in funding decisions, often beyond what funders consciously recognize. Known organizations benefit from the comfort that familiarity provides. When funders recognize your name, have heard about your work, or have interacted with your staff, you feel like a safer choice than a completely unknown entity. Familiarity reduces perceived risk. Repeat applicants often have advantages over first-time applicants. Even if your previous application was not funded, the familiarity gained can help subsequent applications. Funders may remember reviewing your work before, which provides a baseline of knowledge. Field presence makes you more recognizable to funders. Organizations that present at conferences, publish in journals, participate in coalitions, and maintain visible profiles in their fields are more likely to be known to funders. Visibility creates familiarity even without direct contact. The implication is to build visibility before you need to ask for funding. Become known in your field through publications, presentations, and participation in relevant networks. Engage with funders through information sessions and field events. By the time you submit a proposal, you want to be a familiar name rather than a stranger. Many funding decisions involve group deliberation, and understanding peer influence helps you think about how your proposal will be discussed. Review panels for government grants and some foundation competitions involve multiple reviewers discussing proposals together. The dynamics of these discussions can significantly influence outcomes beyond individual reviewer opinions. Anchor effects occur when early opinions shape subsequent discussion. The first person to speak about a proposal often sets the tone. If they are enthusiastic, others may follow. If they are critical, others may pile on concerns. You cannot control discussion order, but you can work to make positive initial impressions likely. Social dynamics affect outcomes. Some reviewers are more influential than others due to their status, expertise, or persuasiveness. A respected voice defending your proposal can carry significant weight. A respected voice criticizing it can be damaging. The champion effect means having an advocate in the room matters significantly. If one reviewer is genuinely enthusiastic about your proposal, they may advocate for it during discussion, counter criticisms, and influence others. While you cannot ensure you have a champion, submitting a strong proposal increases the likelihood that someone will feel compelled to advocate for you. Understanding funder self-interest helps you position your proposals to address what funders actually want beyond stated criteria. Mission advancement is the primary self-interest of most funders. They want grants that advance their goals and make progress on issues they care about. Framing your proposal to show how it advances funder priorities, not just your own, is essential. Portfolio balance influences funding decisions. Funders often seek diversity across their grants, including geographic distribution, organizational types, approaches, and populations served. Understanding where your proposal fits in a funder's portfolio can help you position appropriately. If a funder has many urban grantees, emphasizing your rural focus might be strategic. Impact demonstration matters because funders need to show results to their stakeholders. Foundations must justify their grant-making to boards and eventually to the IRS. Government agencies must demonstrate results to Congress. Funders are attracted to proposals that promise demonstrable, reportable impact that they can highlight. Positioning involves funders using grants to advance their own position in a field. A foundation might fund innovative work to be seen as a field leader. A government agency might fund particular approaches to advance policy priorities. Understanding funder positioning helps you align your work with their strategic interests. Proactively addressing funder concerns demonstrates thoughtfulness and builds confidence in your proposal. Anticipating objections means thinking about what might concern reviewers before they identify problems. What questions might they ask? What weaknesses might they perceive? What risks might worry them? Thinking from the reviewer's perspective helps you identify potential concerns. Proactive response means addressing concerns in your proposal before they become objections in reviewers' minds. If you know reviewers might question your organization's capacity, address capacity directly. If they might worry about your timeline being too aggressive, explain your timeline rationale. Do not wait for criticism, preempt it. Honest acknowledgement of limitations builds credibility. Every proposal has limitations. Pretending otherwise invites skepticism. Acknowledging limitations honestly while explaining why they are manageable shows maturity and self-awareness. Reviewers trust applicants who can discuss their own weaknesses realistically. Mitigation strategies show how you will handle potential problems. Do not just acknowledge risks, explain what you will do if problems arise. Contingency plans, alternative approaches, and adaptive management strategies all demonstrate that you have thought carefully about implementation. Timing and context can significantly influence funding decisions beyond the quality of individual proposals. Funding cycles affect when opportunities are available and when decisions are made. Submitting applications at optimal times in the cycle, building relationships before application deadlines, and understanding decision timelines all matter. Poor timing can undermine strong proposals. External events can shift funder priorities. A natural disaster might redirect funding toward relief. A policy change might create new priorities. A public health crisis might reshape grant making. Being aware of how current events affect funder thinking helps you position your work appropriately. Competitive context involves understanding who else is likely applying for the same funding. If you know a field is saturated with similar proposals, you might emphasize what makes your approach distinctive. If you are among few applicants serving a particular population, that differentiation is valuable. Funder circumstances affect decision-making in ways applicants may not see. Leadership changes, budget fluctuations, strategic redirections, and internal politics all influence funding decisions. Staying connected to funders helps you understand their circumstances and adapt your approach accordingly. Let us consider how to apply these psychological insights in your grant-seeking practice. Relationship investment means building trust over time through consistent engagement. Do not wait until you need funding to interact with funders. Attend their events, seek their advice, share relevant information, build relationships that create familiarity and trust before you need to ask for support. Clear communication reduces cognitive load for reviewers. Organize your proposals clearly. Use strong headings and executive summaries. Make key points easy to find. Respect reviewers' limited time and attention by making your proposal as readable as possible. Strategic positioning addresses risk concerns and demonstrates credibility. Emphasize your track record. Show social proof through partnerships and endorsements. Address potential weaknesses proactively. Make funders feel confident that supporting you is a safe choice. Authentic connection combines psychological awareness with genuine relationships. These insights should enhance, not replace, sincere engagement with funders as people. Manipulative approaches eventually fail. Use psychological understanding to communicate more effectively while remaining genuine and honest. Let us summarize what we have covered in this lesson on funder psychology and decision-making. The key insight is that funding decisions are made by humans operating with predictable psychological patterns. Understanding these patterns helps you communicate more effectively and position your proposals for success. Critical factors include risk aversion, which makes funders prefer safe choices, trust, which must be built across competence and character dimensions, cognitive load and decision fatigue, which affect how proposals are reviewed, narrative, which engages emotions and creates memorability, and social proof, which signals quality through others' endorsement. Application involves clear communication that reduces cognitive load, proactive positioning that addresses concerns and demonstrates credibility, and authentic relationships that build trust over time. Psychological insights should enhance genuine engagement, not replace it. In our next lesson, we will explore professional ethics in grant seeking. We will examine the ethical principles and standards that should guide grant professionals, common ethical challenges, and how to maintain integrity while pursuing funding effectively.